Hi folks, I'm Gregory and welcome to my channel. A lot of new engineering managers ask themselves, should I still be writing code? And that's a very good question. I also asked it myself when I first became a manager. So I checked a number of resources, I checked a number of books, I asked a number of people, and usually the answer was no. You should not write code anymore, Gregory. You're not a developer anymore, you're a manager. A few years later, being a much more experienced manager, I think I can offer a more nuanced view on that case. Today I'm going to tell you about when I believe that it's okay for managers to write code and how you can write code as an engineering manager so that you do not sabotage your team. Let's start. Let me start by saying that I agree that if you're an engineering manager, writing code is not one of your main responsibilities right now. And if your job description says you are required to write code 50 to 70% of the time, that's not really a management job. That's more like a team lead position. That's like a half developer, half manager, hybrid something. As a manager, you make sure that your team succeeds. You make sure that you remove any obstacles that your team sees so that they can deliver everything that is expected. Your goal is to help your developers grow. Your goal is to make sure that your team can become the best version of itself. And if you're thinking, maybe the best way I can help my team succeed is by writing some big features, the answer is no. But if you ask yourself, can I write code as an engineering manager? Then I would say yes, with an asterisk. This asterisk boils down to two things. First, the flexibility of your role. Second, the reasons why you want to write code. Let's start with flexibility. Depending on the environment that you're in, depending on the number of people that report to you, depending on the number of people and the type of roles that are there to support you, you will have certain flexibility in your role. In my roles as a manager, I had between 3 and 15 direct reports, and let me tell you, these are two completely different things. When you manage a team of 3 developers, you can spend a lot of time with each individual, and still after that you will have a lot of time for other things. When you have 15 direct reports, that's way too many, and you shouldn't be managing 15 people directly. But if you do, then it will occupy a lot of your time. You will not have much time for other things. There are other circumstances like the experience in your team. If you're managing a team of experienced developers who have been in the company for quite some time, then they will not need a lot of direct technical guidance from you. While if your team consists mostly of junior and mid-level developers or people who are new to the company, then you will need to provide the technical leadership more directly. And finally, check who's around you to support you in your work. Do you have dedicated product or project manager or product owner? Are there tech leads in your team? Or maybe you're alone in your role and you have to provide both technical leadership, people management and product management. So that's the first asterisk. Do you have enough flexibility in your role? Do you have enough time in your role to actually complete all your responsibilities, to be on top of your game, to do anything that's expected of you? So now, knowing how much flexibility you have in your role, you can decide, okay, I want to spend a certain amount of time writing code. I want to contribute directly to the code, to the product that we're building. But before you do that, before you decide it, let's talk about the second thing. The reasons why you want to write code. From my experience, there are two main reasons why engineering managers still want to write code. The biggest one by far, especially among new managers, is fear. The other smaller reason is fun. Why fear? Well, let's admit it. If you're a new manager, you probably have no idea what you're doing. A lot of companies just promote people to management position and that's it. They provide basically no support. Good luck, you're on your own now. So what people do in such situation is they fall back to the activity that they are good at, the activity that made them so good that they were promoted to management. And for a lot of us, this is programming. Before management, I was a developer and I was good at it, and that's why I was promoted. And when I didn't know what to do as a manager, I just decided to write code because I was afraid, because I didn't know how to manage people, because coding felt familiar, and that's something that I felt comfortable with. I knew that I was good at it, and that was for me the simplest way, the easiest way to help my team. And on top of that, I was afraid that if I stop coding, I will never find another job as a programmer. And what if I don't like this management thing and I want to code again? It's easy to succumb to this fear, and it's easy to go back to coding and ignore the management part. But that's how you sabotage your team. That's how you ensure that your team will not succeed. So if you're a manager, and especially a new manager, ask yourself, why do I want to write code? Is it because this is what my team needs the most from me? Does my team really need me right now to write code to support them this way? Or is it because I have no idea what I'm doing and writing code feels like the easiest way for me to support my team? You need to admit to yourself that writing code is not a remedy. This is not what your team needs the most from you. Your team has a lot of other problems, there are a lot of obstacles that they need you to solve. So that's fear. But the second reason is fun. I enjoy programming. I became a programmer because I found it a creative and satisfying activity. It also gives me a very quick gratification. Whenever my code works fine, whenever it compiles, doesn't throw any errors, I'm just instantly happy, I'm satisfied. That's how I measure success in my work. And as a manager, it's a bit more difficult. So, well, coding is way more fun than managing. But think about it in terms of your work. If programming gives you so much fun that you don't want to do your management work, that you want to fall back to coding, if you want to spend your day writing code, then maybe the management position is just not something that you want to do. Otherwise, you need to split these two things. You need to ensure that the management part is done and that coding is maybe a pastime, a hobby, something that you can do in your spare time. It won't be the core of your work anymore if you remain on the management track. Now that we've covered these two things, the flexibility and the reasons why you want to write code, we can talk about two situations where you should not write code as an engineering manager. First, if you are a new manager, if you are just promoted, if you just jumped into management, you should definitely not write code. Stop it for at least 3 to 6 months. Give yourself a break. Get comfortable with your new position. Adjust to your new responsibilities. Make sure that you understand what is expected from you. Make sure that you know how to do it. Make sure that you get any support that you need, and make sure that you meet the expectations, that your supervisor is happy with how it is going. And situation number 2, if you have too many other responsibilities, if your team doesn't understand the vision of the product that they're building, if you manage a lot of people directly and spend a lot of time doing the people management, if you don't have product manager or project manager that can help you with the processes, then you should definitely not be spending time writing code. You should focus on figuring out these things first. Make sure that your team has everything they need. Make sure that the organization provides you the support you need. Make sure that you're on top of your game, that everything is fine, and that you still have some room there, if you still have some time to dedicate to writing code. Only then, only if you're comfortable as a manager, and only if you're on top of your game, if your management responsibilities are covered, then you can think about coding. And if you write code as an engineering manager, follow these 3 tips so that you do it well, so that you do not sabotage your team. First, never pick up urgent tasks. It will hit you hard. If you pick some task with a time constraint, your other responsibilities will come back, you will not have time to focus on the code, and at some point you will either have to pass it to someone else, or you will realize that you're already late and you will be spending weekends or nights working on that code just to make sure that you don't screw up your team. Pick stuff that it's nice to have, but that does not need to be done within a certain amount of time. Second, pick up small tasks. Even if you find something that's not urgent, but it's large task, don't pick it up, because it will be very hard to ever finish it. It might happen that you only find 1 or 2 hours a week or even a month to write some code. And you don't want to drag that thing over time, because at some point you will either abandon it or you will have to pass it to someone else. And third, You don't need to work on production code. You can pick up something new. You can find some interesting tool that you want to try out and later suggest to your team. You may work on some experimental application that may later become a production code or might be thrown out. In one of my previous jobs, I noticed that the team struggled with a lot of code duplication. So I wrote a very small and experimental DSL to solve that issue. And I told my team, hey, look, this is something that will solve your problem. I am not sure if it makes sense to use it. If you don't like it, let's just throw it out. But then they decided to pick it up and they built on top of that. And my idea maybe didn't make it to production, but it started something that helped my team to improve how we write code. It improved the velocity of the team, it gave them a lot of comfort and made everyone a bit happier. That's it for today, folks. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a comment and to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions about engineering management, feel free to ask in a comment. I will try to answer them. I know that a lot of people, especially new managers, often feel lost. I certainly did in my first role as an engineering manager. So remember that you're not alone there. There are a lot of people in situations like you, and it's always good to get help from someone who has already experienced the same problems. In the meantime, take care, folks.